Hey, it's Ed here. On today's video, we're taking a look at technical analysis for Tesla with Elliott wave theory. On today's video, we're going to be focusing on this structure over here, again starting from the lows of January 2023, so start of the year. Again, we've gone through this previous structure before, so I'm not going to be spending too much time on it, but to me, again, we have a decent chance of having this coming down in 3 waves. Now, that allows us to have a continuation to the upside unless the structure going up is in 3 waves as well. Why is that important? It's because again this can be just the first structure of a structure that is going downwards, in which case we would be creating a 3-way structure down, 3 ways up, and then a continuation to the downside, targeting these lows and lower. But let's talk about this current structure. Now we were talking about this previously and took trades on it as well, and now we are just waiting for this whole thing to clarify up in here. So again, the ideas originally was that we were going to play this as a 3-way structure. However, again, that gave us the opportunity just to hold long and yeah, first profits were somewhere in here and then let the rest ride until we are seeing clear divergences. Clear divergences came in here when we were creating double divergences up in here. Potential wave 4, it came again down in 3, which allows us to continue the previous trend, which was definitely up here, to the upside. However, again, at this current point, we have the option of having this in 3 waves. It is kind of weird looking structure if we want to be saying that, okay, this is a 5th wave. I'm sure there is a way to label it. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There is definitely ways to label it, and nothing I can see here on RSI is saying anything wrong about that. We even have divergences here. But yeah, that's that. The other way of looking at this is that this whole thing ended down here, or up in here, sorry. And we came down in 3, went up in 3, and now we are coming down in 5. At this point, this looks impulsive to the downside. And why am I thinking about this? Well, let's say the higher time frame picture. We've talked about the possibility of having this as a wave A or wave B. Again, possibilities or probabilities, sorry, are going towards more of this being a B wave, since this took so much time in comparison to this first move. So at that point, again, the main idea was to look for a potential 1-to-1 hit, like we had in here. We had those divergences, profit takings, etc. And the targets are still bearish. We only hit the 1.236 here at the very tip top. It is completely possible that this was the high here, and the way we would be labeling this is like this. And at that point, we could say that, okay, ABC is done. Now, what is this structure about? At this point, we came down in 3, potential wave, 3 ways up, and then potential 5-way, well, completing very soon. Let's take a look at that in just a moment. But if this is a structure like this, it definitely has the potential of being a corrective structure that is correcting this previous move here, or this whole move up in here. However, for that to happen, this is kind of small. So I would be expecting, if that is the case, that this indeed is a C wave ending in here, I would expect this structure here to create some kind of move to the downside a bit more, wasting a bit more time before a potential continuation to the upside with this in mind. Now, how does this fit into the idea that we have overall? Well, as we had this coming down in 3, we can definitely have this going up in 3. And at that point, again, if we are closing on towards the all-time highs into around the 90% retracement, we would be looking for this as a higher time frame ABC. There is definitely a potential that we don't need to be thinking about that. We don't need to be going higher at all. It is possible that this whole thing is still part of that wave 4. The only thing why I brought up this possibility that this whole thing could be done is that wave 2 was this size, and wave 2 was that size, and this whole thing is already sized up like this. Now, that does not mean that we shouldn't be looking for long setups here. This is definitely a possibility, even though this allows us to look for potential this shouldn't be here. This allows us to look for potential fifth wave to come, or that zigzaggy structure, time wasting mess that we could have here. This definitely has the option of having us look for longs here. Let's zoom in on this structure a bit. So we were talking about how this came down in 3, went up in 3, and now we are coming down in what looks like, to me at least, kind of impulsive of a move. At this point, I think we hit the 1-to-1 exactly on that move, like so. You see that 1-to-1 hit. So what does that mean? Well, we came down in 3, went up in 3, went below or beyond the origin highs here, which allows us to think more of a B wave target. This did reach a bit higher than I would be expecting for a potential B wave, meaning that this would be an A, B, and then C coming down. So this would be, let's say, minute. Here we go, and this would be green. Not that green, but this green. And so would this. So again, a retracement target here for the way B, expanded B pocket, and then you would be looking for downside 1-to-1, one of the targets. Of course, there's liquidity down below here, but at that point again, we could be turning way more bearish. At this point, we could have some kind of 1-2, 1-2 setup here, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, and potential fifth. I would really like to see these lows to be taken. At this point, we have divergences here, as you can see. We would be getting that second divergence if we just took another low here. Probably want to be setting alarm there for Monday's open. But yeah, earnings was definitely something again positive here. But still the stock went down. So again, don't always look at these things as something you should go by. Market does whatever it wants, so that's why I generally want to ignore these. Of course, these are somewhat important in the timing, because at that times when these are given out, the earnings and the revenue reports, there's going to be more volume in the market. So at least keep an eye on those for that specific reason. But yeah, at this point, 1-to-1 hit, maybe one more low. If it extends a bit down here into the 1.236, around 248, 250s, that would be even better. At that point again, allows us to look for long setups to the upside. Whether it brings up in 3, we're going to be seeing that later, but that would be the setup I would be looking for. If this indeed is the fifth wave, which I don't really like, it could be that we want to be looking for a hedge somewhere in here. If this comes up in 3, extends into some of the well-known ABC targets, like a 1-to-1 over here, like this in here, you would be looking for a hedge for hedge short against that long you want to be taking here. So again, this is providing us 2 setups. Depending on how the market behaves, we could be looking for something like this. Again, keeping your stop tight here is decent. You could be already looking for that. We definitely don't want to be going for this low. 2-to-1 extension for this kind of move would be very, very weird, but I would be liking to keep the stop loss somewhere in closer. When you see local divergences here forming out, I would be just looking for that and then comparing a potential wave 1 here to wave 5 here and then looking for a stop loss there. But we can talk about that more on the Discord and the signal possibility that if that happens, then we can take a look at it again. But yeah, another way of looking at this is that if we don't get a new low, we can still look for a short potential. Where we would be looking at that is again at that 3-way structure. Generally, we want to be looking at that only after we hit the 38.2. If we don't hit the 38.2 retracement, I don't think there is a good risk to reward ratio anyway. So potentially the 0.5 or the golden pocket, depending on where you want to be looking for. And again, stop loss would be at these highs. So 2 decent setups, and depending on how the market opens and what we're going to be getting in the price movements very early on Monday, we'd be looking into doing some of those trades for sure. But I think that is pretty much all I wanted to cover on Tesla for this moment. Let me know if there is some questions about that or the counts that I went through. But again, check out our affiliate links on the description below if you want to be checking out and getting discounts on the fees. So again, that's all for now. Thanks for watching and catch you on the next video. Bye bye.